Okay, today we're going to do factoring by grouping. Again, as I told you all in class, if you have a different method that works for you and you remember, that's great, you can use it. This is a method that I've had students be successful with when they don't get all of the little tricks. Okay, so our first step is bring down the first and the last term. That literally means bring down the first term and bring down the last term. Now be sure when you bring down this last term you are bringing the sign with it. Okay, first step is done. Step 2 is multiply the first and the last term. Well, the first term is 5, the last term is 14. 14 times 5 is 70. So what I'm going to do is in a different color, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to look at my factors of 70. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and 1 will go into 70 70 times, 2 will go into 70 35 times, 3 will go into 70, it won't, so I don't have to write that one. 4 does not go evenly, 5 does go evenly, so 5 into 70 goes 14 times. 6 does not go evenly, 7 does go evenly, 8 and 9 don't go evenly, 10 does go evenly, but we've already written the 10, so we're done. Alright, so that takes care of step 2. Oops, sorry, that takes care of step 3. Step 2 is to multiply the first and the last term. We did that here. And step 3 is to find the factors. We did that here. Okay. Step 4, determine the middle signs. In other words, I am going to have a value here and here, and I'm going to determine those signs right now. Okay. Now the way I'm going to do that is, oops, sorry about that. Let's go back. The way I'm going to do that is I am going to look at this sign. Since that sign is negative, that tells me that my sign here and here are going to be different. One's going to be a positive and one's going to be a negative. That's all I need to know. So I'm going to do a plus and a minus. It does not matter where you put those signs right now. Okay? Alright, so let's go to step 5. I need to pick which factors I am going to place in these two spots right here. Okay? Now, the way I'm going to do that is because my signs are different, I'm going to go over here and look at my factors. When my signs are different, that means I'm going to subtract my terms. So I need to find two factors that will subtract to give me 33. 35 minus 2 will give me 33. So I am going to do plus. So here do the signs matter? Okay, I've got a negative there. I want a negative 33. So I need to put my biggest value with the negative number. So I'm going to do, if I can get my thing to write, just a moment. There we go. 35x there with the negative because of that. And then I'm going to put 2x here. Okay? That is step 5. I picked which factors I was going to use and I put them in the right spot. Okay, now step 6, I need to place parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this without all the yellow. 5x squared plus 2x minus 35x minus 14. I'm going to underline 6 in green, and I'm going to place my parentheses around the first two terms and the last two terms. Now notice I have no signs, no numbers, no nothing in between these two parentheses. So you always want to include the sign here with inside the parentheses, okay? All right, step 7. Let's jump back a few steps. Step 7 is to factor out the GCF. So looking at this parentheses, I have an x common to both terms. No numbers common, but I do have a variable. So I'm going to factor out the x. Now this is the same thing as doing 5x squared divided by x. Leaves me a 5. X squared divided by x is x. Same thing over here, 2x divided by x gives me a positive 2, and the x's cancel each other out. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to this one. Since I have a negative right here at the front, that tells me I am going to factor out something negative. I see that 7 is common in both of those, so I'm going to factor out a negative 7. So now we divide. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 35 divided by 7 is 5. And then we bring the x along. And then I divide the negative 14 by negative 7. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. 14 divided by 7 is 2. And I'm done factoring. Now what I want to see right here, this is my check step, number 8. I need to check to see if the parentheses are the same. I'm talking about these two parentheses that I have. They both have the same thing in them, same sign, same numbers, same everything, 5x plus 2. That tells me I'm doing it right. So, step 9 is write the common parentheses, okay? So, 5x, sorry, that was really weird. 5x plus 2, that's my common parentheses. I'm going to write it one time. I'm going to cross that out. What do I have left up here on this line? I have an x and a minus 7. That is my factored form. Now, you always want to check yourself. So let's just, I'm going to use FOIL real quick to check myself. Oh, wait, let's do this real quick. What's left is in the second parentheses. That was this and this. That's the second parentheses. Okay, that's what that statement means. So let's go ahead and FOIL. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 7 is negative 35x. Positive 2 times x is positive 2x. Positive 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. So I bring down my 5x squared. Negative 35 plus 2 is a negative 33x minus 14. And that's what I started with. 5x squared minus 33x minus 14. Okay? Now I'm actually going to erase all of these arrows. I want you to be able to look at this now and think through it. There we go. And remember, this is just a check, okay? We checked it. Whoa. This is our answer. Okay? All right. Okay, here's a second example. We've got our steps right here along the side. So let's follow them. Bring down the first and the last term. I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit, so just pause if you need to. Or if you want to try this one on your own, go ahead and pause it, work it, and then check your answer. Okay. That took care of step 1. Multiply the first and the last term. Remember, there's an understood 1 in front of that x squared. So 1 times 64 is 64. So I'm going to do my factors over here. Actually, let's do these in another color. Okay, so we multiplied. Now step 3 is... So we've got our factors 1 and 64. We need to go ahead and keep looking for those. So that's going to be 2. Oops, I'm in a different color here. 2 and 32. Man, this is not writing very well. There we go. 3 won't work. 4 won't work. Actually, 4 will work. 16. That's a 6. 5 won't work. 6 won't work. 7 won't work. 8 will work. Oh, good grief. I'm sorry, my stylist is really messing up. Okay, so there are my factors. Now I'm going to determine the middle signs. So I am going to look at this number. Since it's a plus, that means that these two signs are going to be the same, and this tells me they're both going to be a plus. Okay, that takes care of step 4. Step 5 is to pick and place my factors. Since both of the signs are positives, that means I'm going to add numbers to get to 16, and 8 and 8 will make that happen. So 8x I've got to get a new stylus, obviously, and 8x. Okay, that takes care of step 5. Step 6, place my parentheses. Okay, that takes care of step 6. Step 7, factor the greatest common factor. All right, here in the first one, we have x's in both. So x, and I am going to divide x squared by x, and I get x. I'm going to divide 8x by x, and I get plus 8. Over here, I have an 8 in common with both, so I'm going to pull out a positive 8, and 8x divided by 8 is x. 64 divided by 8 is 8. Okay, that takes care of step 7. Step 8, check to see if parentheses are the same. They are. So I'm going to write those down, or that down. 8 plus 8, I'm writing it one time, and it leaves me with an x. Good grief. 8 plus x plus 8. So that is my answer. You can also write this answer as an x plus 8 squared, because it is being multiplied by itself twice, which is what squared means. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and give you another example. You should have your steps written down by now, so I'm not going to copy the steps next to it, and I'm going to let you work the problem on your own. Okay, so here is your next problem. I want you, using your steps, to try to work your way through it. So hit pause, and when you come back, I'm going to very quickly walk through the process. So hit pause, factor the problem, and then hit play again to check yourself. All right, we are going to bring down our first and last. We're going to multiply the first and last, and it gives me a 6. I'm going to find my factors of that. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. I'm going to identify my signs. This tells me that my signs are going to be the same, and it tells me they're both going to be positive. Now I'm going to determine that since both of my signs are positive, I'm going to be adding numbers to give myself a 5. I can add 2 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 there. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and put my 3's together and my 2's together. Now I'm going to put parentheses around them. I'm going to factor out my GCF. My common factor here is a 3x. So when I divide 3x squared by 3x, the 3's cancel out. X squared divided by x is a single x. When I divide 3x by 3x, my 3's and my x's cancel out, so I have a plus 1. Here, I am going to factor out a positive 2. 2x divided by 2 is x, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, so the next step is, do we have two parentheses that are the exact same thing? And yes, we do, so I'm going to write that down. X plus 1. Cross those out, and that leaves me with a 3x and a plus 2 up here to put in my second parentheses. And if you FOIL that out, you will get 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 more examples, and I'm just going to give you the starting trinomial and then give you the final answer. And I want you to work through the 2 more the two more trinomials. I want you to factor them and then check your answer. And if you have questions, email me. Okay, here are your two examples, and go to when you're finished, hit play again, and it'll go to the next page. Okay, here are your answers. Good luck.